That song felt appropriate to offer because our guest speaker is just a wonderful spiritual teacher. I've had the good fortune to meet many, many powerful teachers in my life, and Jane's among the most powerful simply because she meets us where we are. When I go to her yoga class, she doesn't ask me to see any difficult pose right off the bat. She just invites me to sit and be, and from that do some small little movement that's really relatively easy, and always says, do what you can. Don't do what I do. I've been practicing for 30 years. Do what you can. And I just love that. And I love her teaching. And I love her way of being in the world. Please won't you join me in welcoming Jane Goldstein. Jane teaches lots of yoga classes and has for years, and has a master's degree in physical
health education.
And I love the way that you wear all that wisdom and all that knowledge so easily, just like a pair of comfortable pajamas or something. You just wear it.
Thank you.
Just here, have some health, have some peace, have some joy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. How long have you been teaching yoga now?
I've been teaching health and fitness for 31 years this summer, yeah. I worked my way through undergraduate and graduate school, teaching aerobics and personal training and teaching stretch and water aerobics and all of that.
And not just at any old place. You happen to be teaching there?
Now?
No, before. You started teaching at the, what's the name of that spa, the place?
Oh, at Canyon Ranch in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah,
It's
just there. She started it.
Yeah, it's a playground for the rich and famous.
And now you've got your own yoga studio, the Two Hearts.
Two Hearts.
Yeah.
Two Hearts.
Well, thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you. Earlier this year, we took a look at the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Perhaps you were here or not, or you can go back and watch them. They're video archived. And I wanted to visit more about these Bhakti Sutras, because there's so much. There's 84 of them, and we only got to look at one the last time. Today we might get to look at two. And so what the Narada Bhakti Sutras are, it's a text, a sacred text from India that was written between the 10th and 11th century by a group of Bhakti teachers. Together they call themselves Narada. So it's not one person, but a whole group of teachers. And the teachings are on the yogic path of love and devotion. And so bhakti is the yogic path of love and devotion. Sutras are short little sentences that comes from the word sutra or thread. And they're short little sentences that weave together a whole concept. And so when we look at this text, we can look at any individual one of the sutras, and it holds together the whole context of love and devotion. And so before we look at those sutras, I'd like to look at some of the principles that underlie this path of devotion, this path of love. And these are a few that we did not get to look at the last time. And the first one is love is real. It's like preaching to the choir to tell you guys that. But love is real. And how do we know it's real? Because you and I experience it. It's a direct experience that we have and we feel it in our body, we feel it inside us and all around us. And when I experience love in that moment, we're experiencing the divine. That is an experience of we are one. The love that you feel pouring out from you to your daughter or son or parent or beloved, to your pet, to any creature, to any being, you feel the love pouring out. The same love is pouring into you from divine source. And so love is real. The second principle is a principle of open to grace. Open to grace. And in the style of yoga, I teach the first thing we do in any pose, in any moment, is we open to grace. Open to a bigger self than just you. And then let that grace pour in. So open to grace is the grace of God creates an opening. It's your responsibility to go through the opening. So you could say the opening is like a threshold into the temple of your heart. and the grace of God opens that temple. But you have to step through. You have to go in. I was thinking of it in modern day terms, like God sends out an Evite. And it comes to your inbox and it says, you have an invitation to love. Location in your own heart. When? From the time you're born until the time you die. Attire. Come as you are. And we put it in our inbox and it sits there, and everything comes in and it sits there and we kind of see it and we don't respond to it, and it's there waiting for us at all times. That's the invitation to opening to grace. I noticed in the bulletin this morning that there was listed a food for thought. This is the same thing. And it happens to be by Swami Vivekananda. It says, like the silkworm, you have built a cocoon around yourself. Who will save you? Burst your own cocoon and come out as the beautiful butterfly, as the free soul. That's what it's like to answer the invitation to the open to grace. It's like, put on your best butterfly costume and come to the party. The third principle is everything in life is either love or a call to love. Everything in life is either love or a call to love. How could our individual days become changed if that's the way we lived our life? In this moment, this is love. I'm doing the dishes, and this is the love that I have for my family, and this is the love that I have to care for my home. Or in any instance, you're working, and it's love. It's the skill that you have in life to give to others. Or if it's a less than desirable situation, it becomes a call to love. It's a very interesting way to look at life. So let's look at the first sutra. This is sutra number 60. I'll read it in Sanskrit because it's short and I know this one. Shanti Rupat Param Ananda Rupat Ka. And then, of course, it's translated into English. It is of the nature of peace. It is of the nature of supreme joy. So there's actually two words in here that you might recognize. The first one being Shanti, Shanti Rupat. And the second word being Ananda, Paramananda Rupaka. And so through telepathy, somehow, without me telling Rudy, I was like this morning thinking, oh, he should do that Om Shanti, Shanti Om chant that he does. And of course he did. And so Shanti means, in its simplest form, it means peace. In the context of the Narada Bhakti Sutras, it has a much bigger sensation. So let me read the actual translation. This is from William Mahoney, one of my teachers. And he says, the spiritual peace that I'm speaking of here is one that finds expression in the whole of one's being. Shanti is associated with tenderness, humility, benevolence, strength, forgiveness, patience, dignity, respect, gratitude, and reverence. It characterizes the experience and expression of that which is true, valuable, and holy. The divine heart itself is filled with the strength of peace, and it moves deep within the human heart as the soul's truest nature. So it is of the nature of peace, that kind of peace. So it means love. Peace is what Shanti means. And then it is of the nature of supreme joy. So love is also the nature of supreme joy. He's describing these characteristics of spiritual love. So one is peace, with a big definition. And the other is ananda. So nanda in Sanskrit means happiness. If you say ananda, it means unhappiness. So this is not Ananda, it's Ananda. And so when you add the ah in front of it, it takes the happiness and makes it supreme and divine. Ananda is often translated as the word bliss, but here he's translated it as supreme joy. So love is of the nature of supreme joy. Nature. So why does it have nature in there? The word nature is talking about your natural state. If we could strip away all the fear and the anxiety and the stress, all the situations in life that are leading us down a dark path rather than towards a light path, that we could strip all that away, your inherent nature is of peace and love. So that's what this is saying. Love, is of the nature, your inherent nature of peace, and it is of the nature of supreme joy. It's like when you come to Celebration Circle and you leave and you feel so good, but you can't really put it into words other than, I love going to Celebration Circle. I don't care if it's in the botanical gardens or if it's over here. It just makes me feel so wonderful. It's because it strips away the layers of life that have accumulated during the week, and what it reveals to you is your own inherent nature of peace and joy. Okay, second sutra we'll look at is Sutra 78, and I can't do this one in Sanskrit, so I'll just do it in English. Teachings on bhakti should be reflected on. Practices that awaken it should be undertaken. Teachings on bhakti should be reflected on, and practices that awaken it should be undertaken. And so teachings refers to study, self-reflection, self-contemplation, and mindfulness. The things that we all do in our own way to practice this path of love. And then he says practices that awaken it should be undertaken. So practices can include Celebration Circle. So I looked up, what is the mission statement of Celebration Circle? It's on the website, so therefore it must be true. It says, we gather to nurture the sacred in ourselves, each other, and all beings. We gather to nurture the sacred in ourselves, each other, and all beings. That is a bhakti practice. The other practices are chanting. And so it could be the ritualistic chanting, like kirtan. Sometimes Rick Henderson and Shantikar do kirtan, which is a call and response form of chanting. Mainly all the words are basically the names of the divine. So you call out to the divine, and then the divine within you calls back. But it could be, in our modern day, singing. Love is the only power. Love is the only way. Or what did we sing earlier? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. So chanting, singing together as a group about love is a practice of the bhakti path. And then next is meditating, which shortly that's where we'll be moving to. Meditation is really taking the time to fall into the gaps between your thoughts. And in that brief moment between the gaps of your thoughts is an eternity for you to experience. It's like that threshold of the opening to grace in the temple of your heart. Meditation puts you right on the threshold, and then you fall into the threshold. Asana, so that's the third practice, and that's in the yogic tradition, that's the practice of the postures. In a deeper sense, it's the practice of nurturing the temple of the body that you've been given. It's whatever you do. Maybe you jog or you walk. Maybe you eat carrots instead of potato chips. It's whatever you do to nurture the body is a practice of love. And then there's japa mantra. And mantra, like affirmations, there are sacred mantras from India, such as Om Namah Shivaya. And there are modern affirmations, such as we are one, love is the only power. And japa means typically the oral recitation of these things. So you say them out loud. You say them so that you're sharing from yourself to the environment around yourself. There's two more practices. One is reading sacred text. That's something that I find so interesting about coming to Celebration Circle is over the course of the year, I hear something from the Bible and I hear something from, a Buddhist teaching. All the sacred texts, whether it's in words or in speakers, old text and also modern text are covered. It's like we get to see the whole smorgasbord, the whole thing. And then finally is seva, which is S-E-V-A, seva. And seva is selfless service. My teacher describes it this way. How may I serve others as a devotion to the divine? How may I serve others as a devotion to the divine? So maybe you are the garage sale goddess, right? Or maybe you're the person that brings the bread, or the person that visits someone that can't get out or is homebound. How do you serve as an act of love? And you do it all the time in your everyday life. You might not have just labeled it as a practice on the Bhakti path. So to close, and then we'll move into meditation, I'll leave you with a blessing. I taught you Namaste the last time. This time I want to teach you another one, and it's Jai Bhagawan. So Jai means, it's like this. It's hail, or praise. Sometimes it's pronounced Jaya, Jai. And Bhagawan, in some translations it's just God. But in this translation, it's used as a salutation and a greeting in India. It means, I praise from my heart. I praise that place of goodness and inner beauty. And even more than just the goodness that you hold, I praise that place within you of the goodness that you share to the world. It's much better than what we say, hey, how you doing? Jai Bhagawan. So I'll say it and then you repeat it. You can join your hands together, traditional hand mudra. Jai Bhagawan. Jai Bhagawan. So in this moment, I'll invite you to move into one of the practices of the Bhakti path, which is meditation. So take a comfortable seat. Make yourself sit in a way that is reverent, that is honoring and nurturing your own deepest self. And with eyes open or eyes closed, allow yourself to move into an awareness of your breath. This breath, this moment. Each inhale becomes that invitation to open to grace. To follow your breath right to the threshold of your own heart. And feel the beating of your heart as a calling, like a drum, inviting you inward. As you go in, you simply feel vast spaciousness within you, as large as the open sky. And into that spacious open sky within, you dive in with heart wide open. Simply experience, directly experience what this moment has to offer. And take a ride on the wave of grace as it flows in and flows out in the very form of your own breath. Allow yourself to drift into the gap between your thoughts. Willingly take a swim with consciousness. Follow your body back into this place, this moment, this awareness. And with your heart wide open, allow your eyes to slowly open.